Hi, this is David. Welcome to Part 2, Topic 5, Jorion, Chapter 6, on the topic of backtesting value at risk. This is a brief chapter. The associated workbook is file name T5.31.6, var backtest, 31 because this is reading 31 in the Part 2 FRM, 6 because it's Chapter 6 in that book. This workbook contains 3 worksheets, backtest, cutoff, and confidence intervals, which simulate where I've basically replicated examples in the chapter, but I've tagged all of these as low relevance in terms of the exam. So model validation is Jorion's broad class for the activities which relate to the process of checking whether a model is adequate. And so the tools in model validation include backtesting, stress testing, and independent review and oversight. So notice backtesting is different from stress testing. So for example, in Basel regulations, with the value at risk is required. It's required that it's both backtest and stress test. A key term here is exceptions or exceedances. Exceptions are the number of loss observations that exceed the value at risk. So first of all, let's note that if we observe exceptions, that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Value at risk is a quantile, and one of its weaknesses is it doesn't tell us exactly the magnitude of loss to be expected in the extreme tail. Value at risk does tell us that we should expect losses to exceed the value at risk. So we are not going to be surprised by the existence of exceptions. By themselves, they are not necessarily bad things. So if we're looking at daily losses, daily profit and loss, for example, and we consider or just imagine a value at risk model that happens to be perfectly calibrated, it's going to be a little bit unrealistic. But then what if we had a 95% daily value at risk? So I'm not saying what that number or value is. Just imagine there's a value. Maybe that's 10 million, maybe that's 20 million, maybe that's 100,000. Then a 95% confidence daily value at risk should be exceeded about 12 or 13 days per year. Notice that 95% confidence corresponds to a 5% significance. That's always the case. VAR is always one-tailed. So we have a 5% significance over, say, 252 trading days. Then the meaning of